Welcome to another episode of the Hardcat Core 99 series. In this episode, we're going to look at how to import new assets into the Hardcat Core module. To import assets, we first of all have to go to the File, Import, Assets. From here, we're presented with a list of our predefined definitions that have been created, or from here we can create a new definition. In our prior video, we looked at how to create an asset details export. And that export had the following fields: code, name, barcode, location name, purchase price, purchase date, and asset type code. As we were exporting out details, it didn't matter what fields we added into our export to show in Excel. But when we're importing assets into Hardcat, we have to make sure that we're providing at least a minimum set of fields for it to be able to create the record. As a minimum to create an asset record via import, we have to use asset code, asset name, the barcode, and asset type code. So we'll be able to use the same definition to be able to create records in Hardcat based on the export that we created early in the system. But when we're creating records in Hardcat, we have to make sure that the asset code that we're using and the barcode are going to be unique values. So what we'll have to do is edit the existing file that we created and then save that and then import it back in. Okay, let's now have a look at our Excel file. So as we can see here, our asset code and our barcodes are here, but what we'll need to do is change their values so that they will be able to be created in the system. If we don't change their values when we import in, because the asset code already exists in the system, it will do an update to that asset record rather than a create function. So what I'll do here, instead of being an AS code, I'll use the find and replace function in Excel to change it from AS to AZ. And as you can see, we now have a new asset code. And we'll do the same option with our barcode. But in this instance, we'll go AZ and we'll use our own iteration of numbers. And there we are. So now we'll save this file as a CSV. When we're importing it to Hardcat, please ensure the file is a CSV format. And if you're using Excel 2016, make sure that the file format is a UTF-8 CSV file format, which will allow for Unicode characters to be imported into the Hardcat system. So now back into Hardcat, we can now select our import definition, select the import button, and select our file from the web file that we want to import. As we can see now, the Hardcat system is processing that data into Hardcat. Once our processes have been completed, Hardcat will present us with a report outlining what has occurred. As we can see, we have created, 4 pages of created, and then finally a report summary at the end. The system processed 139 records, all 139 were imported, and there are 139 created records. If we had not updated a asset code, that record would have been treated as an update, which would have incremented the update count. Alternatively, if a file record had rejected because of an asset type code may not have existed, a date format may have been wrong, or used the wrong data type, or field length was too long, we will tell this is how many records would have been rejected, and at that record it would have told us what was wrong with that particular line record. If we go back to Hardcat now, close this import area, go to our list of assets. If we do a search to say show all assets where the creation date is equal to today, that will then show us the 139 records that were created today. And as we can see, AZ for the asset code, AZ for our barcode. If we want to add more items into our export, that is fine as well. But what we need to do is make sure that the fields, when we add them into our definition, top to bottom have to also include in Excel the extra columns as well. So columns A through whatever our final column is has to match back to our import definition, top to bottom. If we want to import other entities against the asset record, for example, the cost center, the person, or a product, we have to ensure that we use the product code, the person code, the asset type code, ensuring that we're using the black fields for our import definition to associate records. If we use a red field in our import definition, Hardcat will treat that as an ignore column. So in this instance, if we're looking at Excel, column A, column B, column C, or column D is location name, Hardcat will ignore column D when importing into the system. So if you do want to add extra information into your import definition, ensure you're only importing the black fields.